So you will have heard that little voice. We are now recording. So as I said before, now is a great time to blur your background or turn your cameras off if you'd like to while we're recording this session. Before we dive into today's topic around engagement, I've got a couple of notices and a couple of things I want you to think about. So one is, those of you that were doing the subscription challenge, I'm going to put a post into our lab group about results. Now, I wanted to be clear about that. Don't feel like you've got to put the number in if you're not comfortable in doing so, but I'd love to hear how your intentions went around the month. So were you intentional in adding subscribe to my email in your posts? Were you intentional about adding the link to your stories? I would love to hear how it changed the way you behaved to get people to subscribe. And I want to hear, if you were happy with the number that you got, and if you weren't, maybe some of the lessons you learned or what you would do differently next time. I want to keep this going on a monthly basis. I actually want us to keep doing it because what I saw was some fantastic activity and ideas around getting people to sign up for your newsletters. Now, the reason I want to do it is that we all have different things going on at different times. So Chris might be doing a launch and she might want to do something which will facilitate the growth in her email subscriptions. So it would be a great way to then promote her again in the networking group. Any of you that have started or not quite yet started your landing page or your email signups, you still have the opportunity to be featured into the networking group. So don't forget about that. And it's a great way to get a jump in subscription. So, it might be, and this is just an example, Danny, Danny's just started her brand new email list, jump on and keep up to all things and a little bit about what Danny's doing. So I'm going to keep that going every month. If you have a launch coming up and you want to promote it in that networking group, please come to me and let me know. And if there is an opportunity to do so in the flow of traffic there, it's a great idea. I'm really happy for you guys to do that. All right. That's what that networking group is about. And I think that I'd really like you guys to take advantage of that also. So I'll be posting the post about the subscription update. Again, don't feel the need to post numbers. Okay, I just wanted to be clear about that. You don't need to divulge any of your actual numbers if you're not comfortable in doing so. The other thing I wanted to have a chat to you about is we are in April we are in April, we're in May. We're in May and we are next week, we're halfway through May and then we've got June. So we've got 6 weeks to go. So essentially we're halfway through that second quarter. For the next quarter of the year, and I'm really conscious that it's going to be summer for many of you, and I know you're going to have other things going on. And I wanted to ask you what you would like out of these sessions coming up. So would you like specific topics covered? Or I was thinking, would you like to do a project? So would you like to do the whole promotion and lead up and do a launch? And we all pick our dates, so not everybody's doing it in the same, because can you imagine if we all launch in the same week? That's not going to help anybody. So we actually pick our dates, and it can be that you launch after that 3 months, right? But essentially together, we are working through the posting, the engagement, everything around what is involved in a launch. All right, so have a think about that, and then you can pick your launch date and go through and launch there. Now, it doesn't need to be artwork. So if you're launching any kind of watercolor course, any kind of art course at all, if you are launching a new project or you're doing a rebrand or you've got a new Facebook VIP group, and we'll delve into that shortly. If you're launching anything at all, can be a great opportunity to do that. So it's basically the opportunity to work through the soup to nuts, if you like, the start to finish of planning and how you're going to do it and mapping it out and what it looks like, and then working through the mechanics of it through the promotional stage and then to the actual launch stage. So we could make that a really nice 3-month project and have steps, accountability. I'd love to see you Google documents where you all are on the same worksheet and on task, on focus. You've got tasks to do every step of the way. So if you want to be that project orientated and do a launch of anything at all, have a think about that. I think that would be a fun project and I'd love to do it with you guys. Then again, if you would rather just stick to some topics and we discuss those every week, let me know that also. If we do go down the project route, I would love to keep our hot seat interviews as hot seat interviews, but the subjects will pivot to around a launch and lessons people have learned, and we will bring in people to talk about launching and those sorts of things. So I am completely in your hands. You let me know, or if there's anything else you'd like to do as a group, again, let me know. You've got 6 weeks to come up and tell me. Just give me enough time for planning and the world's your oyster. So I just wanted to throw that out to you for over the summer months to see how you go. And of course, I'm conscious it's not summer for everybody here, but I know a fair few of you have a lot on over that time. Okay, so I am going to screen share. I've put these on a presentation because I wanted to save it for you. Let me just wait till all these move. I wanted to save it for you afterwards so that I know it just liberates you from taking notes, right? So I will save this presentation for you as a link under the YouTube where you can go and refer to it any time, because I'd love this to be an open discussion. And I'm going to flick through. I've come up with 10 ideas and I'm going to flick through, but I'd love us to discuss at the end or, share some of your own that have worked. Okay, so today's topic is ways to engage art buyers. So let me so engage, what does engage mean? So according to the Cambridge Dictionary, engage is a verb to cause someone to become interested or involved in an activity or to attract someone's interest. And that is exactly, if I asked any of you, what does engage mean? Pretty much that's the definition that you would give me. So I am just going to move my view of you to over here. Okay, so how do we measure data? Okay, so when we do anything at all, we need to measure how effective it is. And data is king. Danny, I hope you're laughing. Do you see what I did there? So data is king. So analytics need to become your best friend. So every time you take an action, measure the change in your analytics, take note of what's working and alternately what's not working, and then do more of that and keep measuring. As soon as that goes off the boil, then pivot to something else and do that and measure. If that's working, keep doing that for a while, and then when it goes off the boil, move to something else. My advice is don't let all of your tricks out of the bag at one time, because what happens is if you do a lot of different things all at once, people get a bit confused, but also you've got nowhere to go. So keep doing one thing, do it well, and you'll soon find out when people have become a bit complacent with it, because your analytics will show that. Then move to the next thing. Do that really well, keep measuring, and as soon as that goes off a little bit, do the next thing, because then what you can do is just rotate around the number of different things that your audience like, and everybody's going to be different. But what you need to do is keep measuring in your analytics and you'll see the engagement and you'll see your reach. Just keep an eye out and keep doing that. Okay, so as I said, I've come up with some ideas, but I want to hear from you guys. So at the end, let's have a conversation and we can flick through any of these and come back to them as we get there. Okay, so idea one, seems fairly obvious, but post high quality photos and videos of your artwork with detailed descriptions and relevant hashtags to make them discoverable. All right, so make them discoverable. People will follow hashtags, and then when they see your artwork and some of the hashtags they follow, they're more likely to engage with you. So make sure that you're doing that and that you're using relevant hashtags. Idea 2, so use Instagram stories to showcase behind the scenes content and sneak peeks of upcoming projects or launches. And stories is a great way to do that, because remember, stories is a short life unless you then put them onto your highlights. But even then, stories is a short life. So 24 hours, you can repeat that story over and over again, because remember, not everybody's going to see it the first time. So don't just think, I've done it once, I'm done. Keep doing it over again, and maybe it becomes part of your story strategy that you repeat stories maybe once a month, and then you're going to do that again the next month, particularly around newsletter and email capture. Keep doing that. Okay, idea 3, host Instagram live sessions where potential buyers can ask you questions in real time and see your artwork up close. I love this. I did this when I did my launch, and I need to do more of that, right? I love the live sessions where you are showcasing one piece and talking about it. People are engaging with you. Then that goes onto your post with the link where to buy, and into your stories with the link where to buy. So focusing on one piece at a time, and people will engage with you and your art. And particularly if you're doing that over a number of days, so your reach is going to grow hugely. So idea 4, collaborate with other artists or brands on Instagram, increasing your reach and attracting new buyers. Again, I love this. We have a great network of global artists around us. Let's use them. Let's chat. Let's have a conversation with each other, even if it's talking about, waterproof sketching pens or ink, and having a conversation around all of that. Somebody bringing their favorites, somebody else bringing their favorites, and talking about why and showing those in use. I love that idea. And similarly, it can be used for anything. So it can be even a book conversation, right? Favorite art books, or it can be anything at all that you can have a conversation with somebody else. Now, the reason about collaborating is it not only exposes your audience to you and they get to see you and what you're doing, but it exposes you to that other artist's audience. Now, it's interesting with all of us here, it's fair to say that our audience is fairly similar. So if you can find somebody who doesn't have a similar audience to you, the results are going to be better for obvious reasons, right? Because they have different following. So keep this in mind. I love this idea, and it's something that I want to get back into doing myself. Like I'm a talker and I love talking to others. So this works well for me when I do it. When I do it is the key, right? Idea 5, use Instagram Reels to showcase your creative process in a fun and engaging way, attracting potential buyers who are interested in your artwork. Now, Reels is the key here, because we know Instagram Reels are really doing well again at the moment. So Reels and carousels, which are the multi-image posts on your feed of Instagram, are all still doing really well. And I'm keen, I know Chris has done Reels, I know Alex does Reels, so I'm really keen to have a conversation about that in the end, just to see how they've been going over the past week, because I know that there's been a big push back into Reels again. So I'm really keen to hear how that's going. So, I know the stuff seems simple, but sometimes it's about thinking about it and getting it into your strategy of how you're going to make this work. So idea 6, offer exclusive discounts or promotions to your Instagram followers, encouraging them to make a purchase. So that might sound dramatic, but it might even be something as simple as sign up to my email and you get exclusive 24-hour access to any of my art sales before I launch it public, right? And then what you do, how you put that into action is on your email list, you give them the direct link to your shop before it has public access, or you showcase your pieces to them before they're listed on your Etsy store, some way where they can get them exclusively before they go on public sale. And that's all that really needs to be. It doesn't need to be a discount. But I know as it's coming into summer and a lot of you close down your Etsy stores for a while over that time, again, if you want to have a clear out of your store, a discount isn't such a bad idea, right? And again, use that to drive. So think about the end game here. Get people to subscribe so that they get your discount code. All right. Think about how you can multi-prong the sale with your email list. And if you want to run ideas past me, please do, right? Everything you do should have more than one result. So it's about how do you get somebody to take action here, but also capture their details here. So let's think about that. I'm happy for you guys to message me at any time if you want to just run something by me. So idea 7, host Instagram giveaways where buyers can enter to win a piece of your artwork or something that you use. Think about your favorite supplies, sketchbooks, anything really, anything at all, where it encourages people to and think about the old fashioned, like, comment and share, and tag 3 of your, fellow artists is a great way to grow your Instagram. And it's a great way to get exposure to new people who are real people, because the person tagging is tagging real people that they know. So it is a great way to grow your audience, and then it's up to you to keep them engaged. So a giveaway again can be, oh, I don't want to do a giveaway. Think about it. Like Chris, you've done some wonderful things when it came time to growing your email list. Think outside the square here about what you can do. Doesn't necessarily have to be a giveaway, but come up with some great ideas for engaging people and to get people to share and engage with you. Okay, idea 8. Think about a VIP group or an art collectors club. So a Facebook group is a great way to build connections and foster relationships with your buyers and followers. The reason I like Facebook groups is for the pure fact that human psychology likes what it knows. Facebook is what people of, and I'm going to be very broad here, our generation know, right? So Facebook is easy for them to consume. A Facebook group can be a secret group where they answer questions on the way in. One of them can be, to enter this group, you need to provide me your email address. And please know that by doing so, I will be adding you to my newsletter so that people are aware what you're going to do with your email address. You need to make sure you do that. But you can collect email addresses for people on the way in. The thing I like about this is it gives you direct access to your group of people, right? So whether you're doing launches, sales, behind the scenes, you can do lives, you can do all sorts of stuff in this group to engage with people. I really like Facebook groups, and I really like, the VIP group, Art Collectors Club, whatever it might be that you decide to come up with. It's a great idea, and it's really sticky for following. The other thing that it does is it also, think about Instagram and the way it is at the moment. Instagram is a really noisy, really busy place. Engagement and reach is really hard. When you take those people off Instagram and invite them to join your art VIP group, your collectors club, whatever you decide you want to call it, and you invite them to come over to a Facebook group, you've got them there and you can engage with them every single time you post. All right. So just think about that. I enjoy having a Facebook group and I love the connections that happen in a Facebook group. Okay, idea 9. So host a Q&A session on Instagram stories. And, think about this. A great way is to run a name your piece Q&A where your audience can name your artwork. Or they can, it can be a Q&A about anything. It can be a Q&A about, what's your favorite brand of watercolor paints? It can be a Q&A about if you were to buy 3 Tombow pens, what numbers would they be, right? It can be a question about anything at all. What it does is people love answering. So they will fill in and then you get the response and you can actually respond back to them as well. Q&A sessions are fun and they're a great way to build engagement and also get information from people. But asking people to help name a collection is really fun. It's that just people are so innovative and it builds some great responses. Then, of course, you can share those again in your stories and tag them. So you kind of get this circular effect where you get the engagement for a little bit longer. Okay, my idea number 10, engage with your followers by responding to comments and direct messages, building a relationship with potential buyers and creating community around your artwork. Okay. DMs on Instagram is where it's at the moment. So personal connections, DMs. But when you're selling art, it seems really spammy, right? To go in, have you seen my latest collection and add an image and that sort of thing. Like, be targeted in your approach. But what I want to say here is make sure if somebody comments, you reply. If somebody direct messages, you reply. If you are going to do a Facebook group, my art lovers group, my VIP group, whatever it is you want to call it, a great way would be to go through your followers and send them a direct invitation. So let's say, hi, Chris, I just wanted to let you know that I have started an art lovers Facebook group where I'll be showcasing my art and, sharing some of my behind the scenes and the supplies I love to use. I'd love to extend a personal invitation to you. Here's the link, right? If I got that, I'd be like, oh, cool, I'm in. So think about using DMs to get outcomes that you want. Be targeted and not spammy, all right? Be chatty and not spammy. Have a read of it. So what I would potentially do, write it in notes, leave it for a bit, come back and read it. And if you're still excited by the message, start sending it to specific people in a DM so they know it's meant for them. It's not just a blanket DM. If you come back and read it and go, I'm getting a little bit of the ick feeling, then just reword it a little bit and then come back and have a look at it again. You'll know in your gut whether it feels right or not. But sending personal DMs, inviting people to do something is really powerful. Okay, so what are the ways that you like, or what are the ways that work for you? Let's have a chat about it. Let's chat about anything that we have discussed in these points 1 to 10. And I'd love to hear what you guys do, what works for you, and if there's anything you want to discuss in those points we've just shared. So I'm going to stop sharing and I'm going to come back to the group. Okay, what did we think about that list?
That's good.
Anything new? Anything anybody went, oh, I might give that a try?
Not something new for me, but when I reply to comments that people make, I always make sure to check their profile to see what their first name is and use their name when I answer.
Yes, I do in comments. Yeah, I do in comments also, right? So say Michelle replies on her Calico Daisy account and I wasn't aware that that was Michelle, or I wasn't actually sure how Michelle spells her name. I will go and double check that. Yeah. Yeah, and use their name. And I think that's a great relationship building tool as well, because particularly if somebody doesn't use their name in your account, because it shows that you're invested in them. Remember, people are about themselves, right? Everybody is about themselves. So if you can go, hey, thanks, Mary, for your comment, I really appreciate it, they'll go, oh, okay, you know, it makes them feel good. Yeah.
And it helps you when you're paying attention to that, it helps you to recognize people who comment more often.
Yep. And you do get to see that, and they will be inclined to comment more as well. They will be inclined to do that. Yeah. Is there anything there on the list that anybody hasn't done that they think they will give a try?
I didn't take notes.
No, that's fine, because I've got that present, because I was conscious that there's a lot in there, so I'm going to
no, I know, so I'm trying to remember.
I'm going to PDF that and put it up, or actually I might just copy and paste the point. Do you know what? I'm thinking I might just copy and paste the points into a post.
I just mean you asked the question and I was like, uh-oh, I don't have a good answer after all that hard work that she did, because I was listening.
And what do people think about a VIP or a Facebook group? I know, Alex, that you do something slightly different, and that works well for you.
I'd say in Instagram. I don't go out of Instagram at all. Like, other than my website, which now that I know that I can actually check the analytics on that, I did that, and I can see that about 50% of my monthly visitors come directly. I don't know how they find me, but apparently they do. And then the other 50% is from Instagram. But I don't do anything else.
Yeah.
Like,
Have you got your website linked?
Collections. I have a website link in my profile.
Yeah.
And I do have my collectors club.
Yeah.
And that paid off well. I mean, there's someone who bought 3 paintings this year who's been following me since last April and never had, you know, she was always late because I don't do collections. I do what is there, and if you don't buy it that day, then someone else might.
That's right.
And that seems to fit my style of working, because I
so
don't
you
like
complete something and then you talk about it and it gets sold.
I don't even talk about it. Like, I post it, like I paint and then I post it, and I post it because I want to get more followers. And then sometimes I post the price with it, sometimes I don't. Last week, someone bought 2 pieces, and she's a third-time buyer from Florida. And it was a piece that I reposted in my stories from like a month ago. And then I realized, I should do that more often, because sometimes, you know, stuff doesn't sell right away. And it's not because it's bad or because the price isn't right. It's because the wrong people saw it. The ones that didn't want that piece, but maybe the ones who want,
or the right
piece
people didn't see it.
Exactly. And so I reposted it in my stories, and so Sue, my collector, she texted me, she's like, oh, can I buy that one? And I'm like, certainly, you know, I'll put it in I have a private checkout on my website where I post things for people so they can check out at their convenience without having to worry that someone else might be first. So I post it there. I tell them it's live now. They get a password, and then they access it and they buy it. And so when she was there, there was another piece that I had listed there and forgotten to take out. It was still available. She's like, "Ooh, I see another piece. Can I buy that one too?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure. It's there. Just put it in the cart."
Yeah.
And that works for me. I don't want all this extra work to, like, I don't want to advertise. Like, I want my art to speak for it. Like, I don't want to advertise it. It's too much work. It's too much work.
Yeah.
I just want to paint, and I post it, and if someone buys it, good, and if not, then maybe half a year later. I mean,
and that's great. It works well.
The sale is someone finding my website, a doctor from Chicago, and it's only because I Googled her name, and she bought 3 pieces that I had on my website for years. Like, I forgot that they were there.
Yeah. And that's great that that system works well for you, and everybody is slightly different, but those of us that launch collections, we are dealing with multiple pieces. So the system that Alex uses doesn't work for those of us that
I think
launch collections. It might, but
sometimes
again,
I post daily, so it's almost
yeah,
like I have like an ongoing collection.
yeah. And I guess that's right. So those of us that launch collections will find that we launch a collection, and then with what's left, then we need to start thinking about profiling those pieces one by one and moving those and getting those sold. So from an engagement perspective, and it's interesting, I have spent a bit of time the last 2 days. So the last 2 days, the Thursday and Friday, I've been at a work conference, and I've had the opportunity to engage with some really high profile sporting teams and their social media members. Let me rephrase it. Really high sporting team who have members, and I've been working in and amongst their social media teams. So they work with, a lot, 150,000 members who belong to a football club, and they're engaging them, and how they are engaging with their members who, let's face it, they are fighting with a number of sporting codes, and they're fighting to keep their membership figures up at a time where everybody's looking at the cost of living as well, right? So it's a really interesting dynamic, and I've just spent 2 days in a room with these guys, and it has just been fascinating the way they engage with their paid members. And all of them, without fail, say Facebook groups, so their Facebook pages. So they have a club page where they talk about all of their athletes and things going on at the club, and then they have the members pages where they talk about things that the membership can do. So it might be bring a kid to footy Sunday, kind of, that sort of thing. And Facebook groups for them is still where the engagement is really high. So I was really pleased to hear that, because what I also learned in talking to, we had a lecture from a psychologist who I love this stuff, right? What makes people do what people do? And essentially the nuts and bolts of his 3-hour presentation was, people are lazy. People will do what they know. People don't want to hunt and gather. People want to be served it so they can take one click and take action, right? And we've always known this, right? Don't make people hunt and gather, because they just won't, right? So what it made me realize is we need to, where we think and possibly I'm guilty of this too, is we take for granted people know what to do, right? So we take for granted that people know if they want to purchase this piece of art, go to the link in my bio, go to my Etsy store and buy this piece of art, click purchase, it's in the cart, and then go through it, right? What we've asked them to do at this point in time is read your ad, go to the link, click the link, find the link to your Etsy store, go into your select the piece they want if you've not put a direct link to it, find the piece. Oh, was it that piece that she put? Because it's a collection. Was it that piece? And then I'm like, I do this all the time. So what it made me realize is we need to be specific. We need to have a specific call to action. We need it to be as few clicks as possible. All right, for selling art. So and Chris, I saw your hand there. Give me 1 second.
Yeah.
So what it is and I was thinking about this got into my head, and as I'm driving home, I'm thinking about this, and I'm thinking, so if we are selling a piece and it's in a story, you're sharing your story, and it's tap to purchase, right? So tap to comment sold, and the instruction is clear. If, Danny, I'm just going to pop you on mute, hun.
Sorry.
So, thank you. If it's an Etsy store, or you're selling it on a website or somewhere else, post the piece, and a direct link to that piece. And Miriam, you do that well. I like the way you do that, because curious people like me will then go, I wonder what else she's got in her store, click on the store, and actually I bought something completely different. But if you just want to make people do things with as less effort as possible, because as humans, we are inherently lazy. Well, actually, I should generalize. He said Australians are very lazy. So I shouldn't say humans. I should potentially say Australians are very lazy.
It's safe to say humans.
I shouldn't generalize across everybody, because, you know, obviously he is a really interesting character. He's actually worked for our organization before, but he is a marketing guru, but with a sports psychology background. So he's a fascinating person to talk to. Chris, you had a question.
Okay, so I get how you can do that with stories. How do you do that with an Instagram post? Because I don't know
because
how.
your link, yes, well, and that's a good question. So your link, you can't put a link in a post. As soon as Instagram sort that out, then that's our problem solved, right? You can't put a link in a post. So what you've got to be clear about is, and remember, now on Instagram, you can have up to 5 links in your profile. All right. So, and I would, if you were doing a launch and you're specifically profiling pictures, what you can do is put your post there and say, head to, you know, the usual place to purchase, and put your thing above. Now, I've been trying to research, and I did ask this question yesterday, whether link in bio. So in the last couple of weeks, when Facebook changed, when Instagram changed to allowing you to put 5 links up there, does link on bio still slow down your reach and your engagement, right? Because link in bio were tagged words that the Instagram algorithm didn't like. Now they're encouraging people to do that. I'm wondering whether you can now say, head to the link in my bio. All right. Do you know what? Maybe that's my next experiment. I'm all about experimentation at the moment. Maybe that's my next experiment, Chris. I'll get my engagement up on my artist Instagram post for a week, and then I'll post, and let's see what happens to my engagement. I'm all about experimenting at the moment. Yeah.
I have a suggestion. If you go to the Instagram person called Baker by Nature, she's a recipe person. If you go there, Chris, Baker by Nature, then in each recipe post, she does really good posting. At the end of her paragraph, she'll actually put the link. Of course, you have to, you know, copy paste. But if you do, because everybody knows about this, she's got a lot of followers. If you go to her, you know, the top part where you hit the link and profile link. If you hit the link thing, you get this. It's this, and then you scroll through, and everything that she just posted about in the last bunch of time, you could just click on the picture and you go to her post, like to her website. So I wonder if it's like a link tree, I guess. I don't really know what it is.
Yeah, I'm gonna have a look at that, Chris. Sorry,
it's
Michelle.
Called Lincoln Profile, LinkedInprofile.com / and then her Baker by Nature. So that's what she has up in her bio.
Yeah, so it's one of those link, link tree.
That makes it easy, because then anything you recently talked about, you can hit, and it'll maybe go right to the place. I don't know how that works, because it is hard, especially it's hard to think that you have to change your LinkedIn all the time, your bio all the time.
And actually, I'm just thinking out loud a couple of things. So I believe LinkedIn Premium allows you to do that, allows you to customize your link so that it potentially looks like that. These companies will all be in competition with each other. But I'm just thinking out loud with ConvertKit, if you were to change it to a different style of landing page, maybe have a play with that, Chris. I'm just wondering if you had a different style of landing page where you could then put the image and a button, if that would work. Because that would be kind of cool. That would look like what Michelle was showing there. And it's using something you're already subscribing to and you don't have to pay for, which I'm all about that.
Yeah.
Well, and then like I just went to Michelle Renee, person in our group, and I went to her only because I could remember her name real quick.
Yeah.
And I went to her landing page because I was remembering that she's got these buttons, down here. I don't know how many you can have.
Yeah.
So if you somehow could have, do your last 3 or something on this page too.
Yeah.
Just similar, a place where they can go click real fast.
And that was a ConvertKit, Michelle. Michelle, wasn't it? That's ConvertKit. Yeah.
I think she did that, right? Because she talked to you about it. And then she did it. So
yeah. And I'm pretty sure that's what she ended up using was ConvertKit. So let's have a look at that, Chris. I'm keen to have a play with that and just see. But I agree. It's about thinking and making people do something with as less effort as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The thing is like you said, you have to go to people's pages, and then Allie, you were saying, then you scroll and you can't remember what you were looking at. Well, I mean, we're a group of artists. I have 100 different designs. You would have to go, okay, where is that, Michelle? And then like I have applique work. Then when you go into the thing, you have a drop down that says, which design do you want? But y'all don't have 110 items.
No,
in your shop. So it's really, it's not that difficult. Now for you, Allie, if you wanted a person's face and you're going to your Etsy shop and you're like, did I want Caroline or Susan or what was that might be different, but
but even then, if you think about how many days in a week and how many days you're going to post, you're going to have 5 or 7. And then the chances are by the time you get to 5 or 7, 1 or 2 theoretically should have sold, right? Hopefully, and so then you're just, hopefully that's the name of the game, right?
From your
and then
these 3,
that's right. But I guess too, the thing that I was thinking about too with Facebook is the other comment that he made is meet people where they are, right? And I am really conscious of this. Not everybody I know is on Instagram, right? We are as artists, because that is how we connect. We assume our buyers are, right? And those of us who have those of us whose buyers are artists, that's probably why, right? Because this is the group of people that we're networking with on Instagram. But if you were to take your art to a funky kind of name, my VIP group or my collectors group or not studio, like, okay, this is my marketing brain. It needs to feel special. Right? I'd like to invite you into my VIP group. Feel special then? Come and join my studio page, right? It feels like I'm being invited into something exclusive rather than I'm just coming to follow your page. All right, so think about that.
How do you get followers on Facebook though? Like I've had my Facebook for as long as
you drive them yourself. You drive them yourself, Alex. So you drive them, you invite them, you drive them yourself. So you have
like
your link in your
followers on Facebook. They're just
you have your link in your newsletter. You each time you post or you DM people, and this is such a nice way to DM people on Instagram and invite them over to your group on Facebook. I'm going to pick you, Danny. So, hi, Danny. I really wanted to let you know that I have put together a new Facebook group where I'm going to be showcasing and talk about what you're going to talk about there. I'd love to invite you over. Here's a direct link, right? If I got that, it was a personal DM to me I'd be way more inclined to take action than I gotta invite through Facebook a bulk. I'm going to invite this, send, and it's such and such has invited you to join Facebook group. I'd be like, yeah, whatever. But if I got a personal DM, I'd be more inclined to take action.
But you're still DMing in Instagram though to send them to Facebook.
Because that's where your audience is at the moment, Alex. Absolutely it is. And then on Facebook, right, nobody also does ads like Facebook, right? Facebook ads and the way they segment is phenomenal, right? Facebook groups are not going anywhere. Facebook groups are going to get smarter and better. And nobody does advertising and market segmentation to right down to, you know, a grandmother who knits on a Sunday while drinking tea. You can target that person. Chris.
Okay, so there's Facebook groups,
yes,
and a Facebook page.
Yes.
I don't know that I could have a group that, you know, people would actually come into just
why not
to look at my art.
I think with your person, you're underselling yourself big time. With your personality and how great you are definitely underselling yourself.
But the people who, but they'd have to be interested in actually buying stuff.
No.
And what would I?
Not necessarily. Do you know what? They will be engaged with you, right? You are the key here. Not even necessarily your art, but you, right? People want to engage with you. And it might be, you know, you've just become a grandma. This group is a secret group, right? People have to complete a series of questions to get in here. They can find it, but they can't see any of the content. And we can go through in one of our Zooms, if you're interested, in how to set up a Facebook group, the questions to ask, the settings to use, so that one, it can be discovered, but two, people can't see the people that are in there and can't see any of the posts. They've got to fill in a series of questions to get admission. And you need to be strict on that too, as in if they don't answer all the questions, you don't let them in. They soon figure out.
Could you not get the same kind of engagement with a page just for your art? So right now, like what I do is I share a lot of the stuff that I'm doing on Instagram on my personal Facebook page. And I'm tired. I don't like doing that.
Yeah.
I used to have a page.
And that's the point,
I don't
Chris.
know what to do.
You've actually answered your own question. That is exactly the point. A page is like, let's think about it like this. A page is like your shop window, right? So a page is, this is what I've got. It's potentially come over from Instagram. This is my shop window. A Facebook group is come inside the store, let's chat. Right? Come inside the store, see what I've got, get to know me, let's chat. I'm a grandma, let's chat, you know, whatever it might be. You know, I wanted to knit these booties, and, you know, it can be, or it's where your personality can show through. People get to know you and they get to know your art. And what it is then it's an audience or a incubator. From a marketing perspective, an incubator, where when you launch your next collection, you've already got a captured audience there who's going to see your posts, right? You're going to post it on Instagram. Remember, 5% of those people who follow you on Instagram are going to see your post. That's the difference. Think about it as your store, right? You're inviting people in, you're inviting them to get to know you, to build connections with you, and they'll build connections with each other too, right? At a certain point in time, a Facebook group takes on a life of its own. And those of you inside the Insider Studio see that, right? That Facebook group has a life of its own.
I just can't see that being... I can't see me having a life of its own group.
Well, Chris,
I-
I think too,
yeah.
like you said, you don't want to keep putting it on your Facebook page. Like for me,
Yeah.
I don't bombard my Facebook page with the things I make in my studio. My art, I do, because that's something different that everybody thinks it's, oh, look at Michelle's doing art now. But they've seen, I don't want to see, I don't want to show all the pillows or whatever there. They know where to go. But if you have the little Facebook group, then all of your personal friends and family who do want to watch will go in the group, and the others are like, oh, I don't want to see another mermaid picture. Then
Okay,
they
you
don't,
got
but
a
they
good
don't have to
point.
be ugly. They don't have to be ugly about it, and they know it's there. They know
Yeah.
where to find it if they want to. And
Yeah.
they know where to
Yeah.
find your Instagram. Then that way you can just talk about the babies and your girlfriends going shopping together and all that. And you're not for your personal. And then of course you can't let other people you don't know into your personal. So then that keeps it in the Facebook group. And
Yeah, and Michelle's
you
dead
know,
right. I don't know about you guys, but think about those people on Facebook, family, longtime friends, school friends, whatever, right? Some of mine potentially don't even know that I paint. And why is that? Because one, I don't think they're ever going to purchase from me. If they were, they would know that I do it already because I've posted it a few times, right? If you want to follow my art journey, come on over here. And the fact that they don't, that's cool. I'm happy about that. My personal Facebook is my personal Facebook. If they wanted to follow me, they could come over. And I don't have an art Facebook group because I've more focused on the organized artists. So I've got the Organized Artists Networking Hub, which is kind of what I'm fostering as a Facebook group. It is a Facebook group, right? And it's where you get to be you in front of your people. Build way stickier connections on Instagram. And you'll find if you were to look at, and maybe the younger ones amongst us, but certainly the older ones amongst us, you'll know a lot of people are not on Instagram. It scares them. They don't know about it. So we're asking people to purchase. The other thing that I like about it is if you were to lose everything on Instagram tomorrow, you've still got engaged buyers somewhere else, right? It's about spreading the risk.
My question actually engaged.
Yes, sorry, I saw your hand up.
That's all right. And Facebook, and I'm sorry I can't put my picture up. My connection is just not allowing it to go through. So I'm just a talking square. I know there's
a delightful talking square.
On Instagram, when you post something, you have the option of also sharing it to Facebook.
Yes.
I don't know if anybody else does this. And
yes, I do.
That would be a good way to do it. Like if Chris, if you decided to do a Facebook page. My problem at the moment is, some of you know, I have a son with disabilities who lives in a group home, and my kids set up a Facebook page for him. For some reason, when I have said, yes, I want to send it to both, it sends it to his Facebook page.
So you need to change your connection in that, Drew. When you go
I've done it several times, and it doesn't seem to be working. So I don't know what is wrong.
Are you trying to do it from, so you can do it from the Instagram end?
You know what? I think I haven't tried it from my laptop. Maybe I'll try doing it from my laptop.
Yeah, and just change the account.
I wanted to say about that to Chris is, I know several other people have said this to you, Chris. You are definitely worthy of a follow me page, because I got news for you. There are people that I will check if I'm sitting there and I decide, okay, I am going to spend 10 minutes on my phone. There are some of you who I just go to see what you're doing because you make me feel good and you inspire me, and I love what you post, and I may not even be doing that. And it's not because, so I think definitely Allie was right, you're undervaluing yourself. But seriously, I mean that from my heart, that there are people I follow just for that reason, is because I love what you do. And it just makes me happy. So
thank you.
Yeah, just ponder that. And
nicely
yes,
said, Drew. Yeah.
Thank you. I really want to figure out how to solve that problem with my Facebook and Instagram, because I think that might be a good way for me to share things.
Yeah,
Facebook.
Drew.
And you can always copy the link on your Instagram. You can always go copy link and then go to your Facebook page and chat, and then paste your link right there.
Yeah.
And then your Instagram thing will come up. Then I erase the link out so it's not there. So if worst comes to worst, you could just do it by hand that way.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can do that.
But Allie said this truth here. I'm being lazy here. I want it easy, people. Anyway.
It's a human trait. Don't take it personally. We are all the same.
We're all the same.
We are. Alex, you have your hand up. Thanks, Drew.
Yeah. So basically, I understand you, Chris. What you said about, should I have like a group, set up a group? Because I feel the same, and it's not because I think that I'm not worthy of having a group, but I go by myself and how much capacity do I have to go outside of the app, and I don't. That's why I rarely subscribe to newsletters. It's not that I don't want to read what everyone has to say. It's because I only have that much time in the day. And I can't read a gazillion newsletters a week. So I really don't, not even of my most favorite artists, I subscribe to newsletters. I go to their Instagram and that's about it, maybe their Facebook group. And so what I do instead, and maybe you could try that first and then see if that could work. Basically, someone who's interested in my art, if they let me follow their account, if it's private, I put them on the close friends list and they see a lot of behind the scenes in my private stories on Instagram. And that's basically my collectors group. I have about 150 people, maybe more at this point. I don't know. I don't count them. But once they're in the DMs, I flag them. So I know if a DM has a flag, it's someone who at some point was interested in purchasing a piece or bought a piece or bought more than one or inquired about something. And so I can find them again. And, and if they're then in that group, they get to see anything I post goes to private stories first, always. It's always private stories first. If I buy new paints, I just bought new paints, it's in my private stories. If I'm like taking photos of my son at a track meet, it's in my private stories. It's only for those 150, 200 people, whatever.
Yeah, and you see that, Chris. So when you go to post to stories, you get an option to do stories or close friends. Like you get to see when you go to post that, you can see those at the bottom.
And it then has
thanks, Alex.
Like green around it.
Yeah, thank you.
And
so Chris, I think what I want to say, because
just spit it out. Just spit it out.
I just want to say copy and paste is a thing, right? Copy and paste is a real thing. Don't be shy to do it, right? Michelle said it perfectly. We copy and paste is a thing. You don't have to make the content different, because what you may find is the people are different. They may not even see your post on Instagram. Remember, it's only going to 5% of your audience, right? So this applies to all of you that are thinking of potentially doing this. So pros and cons of a Facebook group: you're spreading the risk. If Instagram is going to get hacked or you lose something, Instagram gets sold, yes, you've got an email list, but have you captured everybody there? Potentially not, because again, it's easier to do in a Facebook group, right? Because you've got the people there. The people that are in your group, by pure joy that they are there, they've given your email address on the way in and you've added them to your newsletter, right? And you've made it clear on the way in that by providing your email address, they will be added to your newsletter to keep up to date with what's going on, right? The reality is they're in your Facebook group and they're going to be anyway, but to get in there, they've got to provide you with the email address. So it helps grow your list. So it does two things, right? It spreads the risk, as in it spreads the risk that if something happens to one thing, you have options somewhere else, all right? Because you've worked long and hard to build up to where you've got to. So it's all about mitigating that risk. Danny, I see your finger in the air. It's blurred, but I see it.
So So Chris, you know how you do your Wednesday tips?
Yes.
Yes, yeah.
Do you just do that on Instagram or on Facebook as well?
I do it on Instagram, but I'll share it to my Facebook. Like, it's my personal Facebook.
So
I
Chris,
I'd
you're doing
rather
it
not.
anyway, right?
But
So-
yeah, and that's the thing. And there are people who like seeing it.
So invite them to your group.
That's why you need a
So,
group.
yeah.
It's
That's
why
why
you
you
need a group so you don't feel weird
Do you
about
feel ganged up
you're
on
like,
Chris?
like your family and friends rolling their eyes. Oh my God, she's showing another painting. What is she do? She wants me to buy. That's all
Yeah.
she wants.
But do you know
When
what's
it's
going to
not
happen?
that, you have
is-
to act like you have a secret, like
Yeah.
Allie, like
Yeah.
people might not know. And when they find out, they're like, oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
But do you know what's going to happen is
You've
people
got
will
a
realize
drum.
you're not doing it anymore there. It's like, hang on a minute, what's going on? I'm
Exactly.
missing out. People
Right.
do not like to miss
They're
out.
not your market. They're not your market. Unless they love you and they really want to
Yeah.
follow you.
Or
they're
they
not your
notice
market.
that they're missing out and they go, hang on a minute, I'm not seeing this anymore. How do I get to go and see this? I want to be part of the people don't like missing out.
Okay.
True.
So there you go, psychology 101. People are lazy and people don't like missing out.
So so Chris has built quite a big group now, maybe with more art followers than family and friends say.
Yes,
Right.
yes.
Okay. Would she then be easier to say, I'm changing around my group a bit, and make a family and friends private group? Or how
Why?
do you change
No.
that? So
Yeah.
you leave
No.
the group she has now, her private group
She
with
doesn't
artists.
have a
She
group.
doesn't have a group
I
now.
don't
She
have
has
a
a
group.
It's
page.
a regular Facebook.
I
She's
She's
just
got a
personal
page.
Facebook
my-
page.
Yes, yeah.
It's just my Facebook page. Like,
Yeah, it's just her
for
it's just
friends,
her. Yeah, Chris
friends will
Hume
take pictures
Facebook.
of my
Yes.
grandbaby. But
Yeah.
yeah. No,
And that way you can have strangers to your Facebook group and people who know you.
Yeah.
You need
Yeah.
to do a group and then you don't
Yeah.
feel weird. Then you can just do
Yeah.
personal
Yeah.
things every so often, show
Yeah.
off something magnificent, but
Yeah.
then have your group.
And let your
Okay.
personality shine through, right? This is the whole point of this is the key to engagement. People
Yeah.
get to see you, they want to engage and follow you, right? Your artwork is
Right.
by the by, right? But it's you they want to follow and engage with. So this is where Chris, this is a perfect thing for you, right? As in, particularly at your stage in life, you've got some really exciting things coming on. You've got some great storytelling around your artwork. And all of you that are in here have got, like your storytelling around your work. Miriam, same with you. People are fascinated about where you live, what you do, German life. Like, I could lap that up for days. People are fascinated, and it gives those people in your group a little bit more of you, a little bit more behind the scenes. Miriam, out and about with your walk and looking at the architecture and looking at the flowers and then coming back and using that inspiration to paint. It's sharing those stories and sharing those experiences. So if you think about it, go back to the old shop front analogy. So your Facebook page is purely your shop front. Lights are on, things are happening every once in a while. You keep walking past, you don't really engage, you don't go in. A Facebook group, you're inviting them in, and when they come in the door, think about when you go in the door of a shop, what happens, right? You look around, you chat to the people on the counter or the shop owner, particularly if they own their own store, because they're really passionate too, right? Think about it in that respect. So in engaging, it is the best way to engage with people.
Yeah.
Because everything else is noisy, right? And Alex has just put the nail in the coffin too, emails. Think about how many emails you get in a day. Think about what you subscribe to because you want to see their information. And then all of a sudden you're getting their weekly emails. And then all of a sudden your emails is like, oh, I've got 300 unread emails that have come in overnight, kills me. Think about all of that. And we're all facing that noisy Instagram place and that noisy newsletter place.
Yeah.
And it's just one idea, something to think about. Like, I'm not saying that you have to do it, but it's something to think about. It was only one of those 10 ideas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you're right.
You like a
think
good
you're right.
project, Chris?
Yep.
You like a good
I'm always
project.
working on a project.
Yeah. So before we round out, we're just past the hour. I will be putting that subscription post up. So if you took part of it in April, I'd love to hear how you went, lessons learned. Don't feel that you have to share numbers. I'm conscious that, you know, you may or may not want to, completely up to you. But more importantly is lessons learned. What did you learn? Were you more intentional about talking about your newsletter, including it in your posts, including the links in your story? So let's chat that. I am going to keep this going because I think it made it intentional. As soon as it becomes complacent and people aren't doing it anymore, then I think we might up the stakes and do another challenge. But, you know, I'm going to keep it going. If you started or haven't quite got your newsletter started yet and you want to be featured in the networking group, then please send me your details, and you'll see the post in there with what to send me. So literally it's just obviously the link for where people to sign up, 1 or 2 sentences about you and your artwork, and then one photo of either you holding your artwork is ideal, or a couple of photos, like definitely one of you, definitely one of your artwork, right? The purpose is get people that are in there to be interested, to go and investigate more and to sign up for your newsletter. So we will continue that through the month of May. I've just done Vicky, who sent me her information on art, and I'm like, no, I want art book chat. Swap it around, so I made her resend it. So you'll see I've just done her few days ago now, so please keep them coming, and then also have a think about, we've got 6 weeks to the end of the quarter, and I want this to be meaningful for you. So anything that you want to cover, have a think about the launch project idea, or any other project for that matter. We'll be closed, like the doors are still open at the moment until the end of May, but as soon as that hits, we're closing them and there'll be no new people coming in, and we will, it's a great time to delve into something meaty, and I'm really keen for it. So have a think about that and what you'd like that to be, and a launch would be fun, or something, you know, whether it's a membership, whether it's a watercolor, or I shouldn't say watercolor course, art course of any kind, whether it's you're doing a completely new brand and a whole new project and something new, working through all the nuts and bolts of what that might be.
You know what we could
Michelle.
do if people wanted to do, like, if you don't have a collection, you don't have a launch to do, what if we planned one of those art square art, you know how they do, everybody shows their square art.
Oh
We could
yeah,
have a launch together is what I mean. Even if, so if you have 1 or 2 items, and then we could do a launch together, which would be where we wouldn't feel so pressurized.
absolutely, we
You
could
only have
do
1 or
anything.
2,
Yeah,
but then it would just be, might be kind of fun, where, what do they call that, like art walk, or they had the, if they
I
had
mean,
like
it's
a,
almost like a virtual art walk, right? We're all, and I love that idea too. What a great
Yeah.
project that would be,
down
right? We
the,
all
down, like for the end of
submit.
the summer or something,
Yeah,
or end of your winter. Yeah.
yeah, I love that idea. That's a great
And
idea,
then,
Michelle.
and then instead of 15 of us having a launch date, and we're trying to stagger it so that we're all not, it'd be, we'd all be talking about each other all at the same time on
Yeah.
on a small basis.
Yeah,
Just an
and look,
idea.
it
I don't
doesn't
even
need to
know
be
what
an
I'm
art
saying.
launch either, right? It doesn't need to be an art launch. It can be any kind of project, right? Anything
Yeah.
that you think that you, or something I really want to tackle, but I've not done it. What is that big scary piece of I want to do this and I've not got there. Because chances are, if it's you, it's somebody else. I literally thought art launch because it's something that is common to all of us.
Right.
It doesn't have to be an art launch, though, right? It could be
Right.
it could be a newsletter. I'm launching a newsletter. It could be I'm launching a Substack. It could be I'm launching a whatever it might be, right? When we think,
I've paid for my new branding and a new name, and I haven't even used it yet.
See, perfect,
$3,000,
right? Because
and I'm too afraid, you know.
that's the perfect example, Michelle, right? So
yeah.
the lead up to a launch is literally a promotion, right? So it's a promotion of anything, and then the launch time is where you're talking about whatever it is you want to promote. It doesn't have to be artwork. It could be new branding. It could be a website. It could be a Facebook group. It could be a Substack. It could be a membership. It could be, you know, a collection of, you know, you've recorded some videos and you're going to teach some art classes. It can be a launch of absolutely anything. But what it is it's working through the promotion and the everything together, and then whatever it is you're doing. And we'll stagger this, like we'll have a joint document that we can all go into so we know when everybody is doing what. So you can see maybe Chris is launching her Facebook group, Chris, on this date, right? So therefore, I don't want to do that here. I might just do it a couple of weeks later over here. Right? Or, you know, Miriam's going to do her Facebook group, or she's got an art collection launch and it's this date. So I'll do this over here so that we're all coordinated. All right. That's the idea behind it.
I was going to say, I just wanted to put in my 2 cents here. And as a collective response to Alex and Michelle and my conversation with you this week, Allie, I feel like poor Chris is, I have a new grandbaby too, but not twins, but I have 3 others. I just feel like we're so positive, but piling on you. And I think the important thing we have to remember too is all these things are going around in our heads.
Yeah.
But we do have to remember our own bandwidth, and we have to follow our gut sometimes too, and not be overwhelmed and be like, okay, I think I am going to do that, but maybe it has to roll out, you know.
Yeah. And like with Drew, so my initial conversation with Drew, it's like, okay, I want you to go away and process this. Go and think about it. Don't go and hang up from here and go, right, I'm doing a Facebook group and I'm doing it now. Because what you need to do is process in your head and just sit with it for a bit, right? Yeah. And see how, because like all of us, you get excited in the moment and you think, right, I'm going to do, and I am very guilty of this, right? Those of you that know me, but rip, shit and bust, get in there, get it done, sleeves up, tick the box, done, right? Yeah. Sometimes you just got to sit with it and let it process and play out and just sit with it for a bit. Did you lose my sound or have you still got me? Oh,
You're
good.
here.
Oh, I just, my headphones just went a bit weird. So sometimes you just have to let it process and sit with it and play out. And there's a lot to be said for that. And I think Drew will agree with that. We got together again this past week, and it feels less overwhelming.
Yes.
And it gives you more of an option to put steps in place that are logical and start at the start and just work through. And that's what kind of gave me the idea actually of coming up with a project that we can all do together, and because essentially it's accountability, right? It's just knowing the steps, what to do, breaking them down and just working through logically.
Right.
Yeah.
But I think it helps to have that you put the idea in our head, but we still have 6 weeks.
That's right. So don't overthink it, right?
It a little more and come up with other things. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And don't stay up tonight, have a sleepless night because you're worried about it, right? Just
I gotta watch the coronation tomorrow, so I gotta go to bed early.
Yeah, so just let these things process and think about it. Think about, what is that big scary thing that I wanted to do, and if I did it as part of a group, I've got this whole brains trust, we're brainstorming, we're working through the action items together.
Mhm,
and we're working towards something.
mhm,
And everybody's will be different. It won't necessarily be an art launch, right?
mhm.
It will be
Great.
different. And it will be exciting because I know what Drew's got coming up. So it will be exciting. So it will be exciting. Yeah.
No pressure, no pressure.
None intended, Drew. None intended.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah. All right. So just let that mull over in your heads for a little bit. And, you know, we don't have to make any decisions now. I just wanted to plant the seed so it didn't become overwhelming.
Yeah.
All right. Does anybody have any other questions before I stop recording? No? Okay, let me stop the